Welcome to the Communicating Capital podcast, where finance and communication get a fresh perspective. Hosted by a dynamic team of women in the industry, we're here to redefine the conversation with candid, no-nonsense interviews featuring top finance executives, communication experts, and industry leaders. With a focus on clarity and real-world impact, we make the complex world of finance digestible and relatable. So whether you're a seasoned professional or you're just interested in our world, we're here to help navigate the space in new and exciting ways. Today, joining us from New York City, we have a special dual interview with Michael and Jake. They're both the co-founders of Nucleus Network. The Nucleus Network is a cutting-edge network development agency that connects highly vetted and seasoned professionals across a wide range of industries. I believe you have tech founders, VC legends, real estate tycoons, and e-commerce wizards. So Michael and Jake are here to share their journey in building this powerful network, the mindset necessary for success, and their insights into entrepreneurship. So Michael and Jake, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on, Jessica. Excited to chat.
We're so excited. So Michael, Jake, let's start with your background. How did the two of you meet and what inspired the Nucleus Network?
Yeah, Jake and I met actually studying abroad in Australia. So we were both at undergrad. I went to Indiana, Jake went to Michigan, and we were studying a semester abroad and had a few mutual friends, so met there. But then being from New York, I moved to Los Angeles post-grad, and Jake was one of only a few people that I knew at the time. So we really got to know each other more closely. You know, we would go out together. We would talk about business together. And then Jake and I actually started a business together before Nucleus, which I'll let him talk more about.
Yeah, diving deeper into that. So I think just as an overarching thought, it's people say don't start businesses with your best friends or people you're really close to or family. We obviously have done that, and it's been very beneficial for us. Obviously, we have time to be friends, but we also have time to be business partners also. But diving deeper into the first business we started together, we started a business called Crispy Rice Bites. During COVID, we noticed that there was a need for people to actually interact with people, but also get food delivery. And Michael and I's favorite food is sushi, and we love spicy tuna crispy rice, which is a big LA delicacy, LA, New York, Miami. And Michael was the chef, and I was the delivery sales marketing person. And we did this business every Saturday for about 4 months. So we got a technical deep into the weeds of the crispy rice, spicy tuna business, which was really fun.
Oh, wait, I'd love to hear that. So you guys definitely have worked together in the past, and you were definitely best friends. But what were the early days like in building the network? So how did you go from the crispy rice days, the college days, the best friend days to starting what you have now?
It was actually Jake's idea. I got to give him all the credit. We have slightly different backgrounds. We're from slightly different areas. And so Jake and I have always been kind of the people in our networks that everyone went to when they needed to make stuff happen. You know, people would come to us like, hey, I want to generate more leads for my business. I want to expand my network. I want to, whether it's raise capital or hire new talent for my company. They came to us and we would connect the dots from there. So Jake came to me one day and he's like, dude, we kind of have a business here because we've been doing it on the side, for fun, and we're quite good at it. Why don't we build a brand and actually formalize what this might look like from a business perspective? So all credit to Jake, and we started the Nucleus Network about a year ago.
Yeah. And adding on to that, what we noticed was that the easiest way to kind of get to where you want to be is to find someone that you sits in the situation that you want to be in, or to get introduced to that person. And what we saw in the market was that there wasn't a company that was actually doing that you can just call and say, hey, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I need. We know vetted, credible people. Please put me in touch with those people. So that's why it just came to fruition. Michael was fully on board, and we decided to take it and take it to start the Nucleus Network.
I love that. But how did you go about assembling the group? You say you have the group of professionals, you have service providers, you have people that are actually quite incredible from the roster that I've taken a look at. So how do you go about networking with all of them? It's quite a few people.
I think it comes from both our backgrounds, which Michael has an incredible background with all that he's been able to do in the music, VC, angel investing, family office space, which I'll let him share a little bit more on. But my background, just like what Michael said, I've always been the person in my circle that has wanted to kind of step out of my comfort zone and meet everybody, because you never know where anyone's going to go or where they'll be. I started a business personally when I was at the University of Michigan called Space Trade, which eventually got acquired by the university. So it was a really good start into entrepreneurship. And then I worked with Gary Vaynerchuk and learned kind of personal branding and how to actually meet more people. And then from there, I worked for someone named David Meltzer, and I was his right-hand man for about 5 years. So kind of was in the right rooms with the right people and was able to meet all different types of service providers. And I was easily able to access and vet the people that were trying to join our network previously with what we were able to do. So I think it's both a mix of who we are previously to starting this company, and then because of what we've been able to do and achieve, we've had a lot of inbound that of people that just want to join the network in general.
That's amazing. Michael, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think Jake put it pretty nicely. We've got these overlapping networks, and obviously we're in a good place with it now, but we're always open-minded to growing that. And so Jake mentioned, we're getting introduced to really quality people and businesses day in and day out because of the structure of the business, which we'll go into a little bit later. And so although we have a really strong foundation now, that's constantly growing. So it's kind of like brick by brick, right? But so far we've been able to build a really expansive, credible, vetted network across different industries, not only venture capital and startups, but business owners and influencers and agencies and tech companies. And the fact that we kind of have the best of the best in each respective field, that's why we love what we do when we're able to connect the dots across those fields to unlock value and drive growth for our partners.
And I think this goes without saying, by the way, Jessica, too, you're in our network as well. So we're grateful to have you in our network. You're obviously amazing at what you do. You're an incredible communicator, which is very important to everyone that's in our network. And obviously you put out amazing work and you're passionate about what you do. So congrats on everything that you've been able to build. So we just wanted to tell you that from Nucleus to you. So, and thank you for having us on. I know this is one of the first shows that you're doing in podcasts, and we're excited to see it grow.
That's so kind. I feel like you both have been such supporters of course, not only me, but a lot of other people that I know, whether it's a top woman in business that's trying to start something new. And I just feel like you guys are not only an ally, of course, to elevate, but to our entire ecosystem. So thank you for that. That's really kind. Which actually brings me to the core. So can you talk about the core concept behind the Nucleus Network? So I know why I would want to be part of the Nucleus Network, but could you tell maybe our audience why they might want to join?
Yeah, I'm happy to jump into it. And then Jake, you can feel free to add on after that. The reason we started the Nucleus Network, Jessica, is to be able to, like we said earlier, connect those dots. And so for us, understanding who you are, what you're doing from a business perspective allows us to kind of filter through the network and see who we can connect you with to help you drive growth or, generate new business or even just expand your own circle. The key for us is we're building this business based off the fact that your network is your net worth. And we're not only focused on transactional relationships, actually quite the opposite. We love putting people in touch where they can both find value or learn something or meet a new friend. Because once that happens, both of those parties then look at Nucleus more favorably. And so it's kind of like this mutually beneficial relationship where this flywheel kicks in and the network effect is really kicking off where, that just sets the stage for a fruitful conversation and also a fruitful relationship moving forward. And so for Jake and I at the Nucleus Network, the core business model is a referral agreement that we have in place. And so we've made well over 2,000 introductions for different partners of ours that we work with. And that's resulted in millions of dollars of what we call total deal value, which is a metric we track pretty closely to see how we're really moving the needle for our clients. And Nucleus monetizes by that simply by taking a percent of those deals that close.
Understood. And Jake, do you have anything to add to the core concept?
I think Michael hit it on the head. Maybe one thing to add, it's funny, when there's two people on a podcast too, we always want to say similar things. And I think we're aligned in that front. We're about to hit the 1 year anniversary of Nucleus. So we've been doing this for a year and we have very similar talking points, which is interesting. But just to add on to Michael, when we first started this business, I think we were planning on just helping companies raise capital. That's who we were going to be, help them in some capacity. And we've pivoted and adapted because you really never know what companies and individuals are going to need. And I think that's what's super important about Nucleus because we're like the one-stop shop concierge for anything that you need for your business, but even personally. I think we emotionally connect with founders and people because their needs are always evolving and changing. And one day they'll wake up and they'll need a graphic designer. Another day they'll wake up and they need, a friend to go on a vacation with. You just never know. And we're becoming that place where people are coming to of trusted people that we can introduce them to.
That's incredible. And you're saying 2,000 introductions in the span of a year is quite a few. Out of all the 2,000, can you share maybe an example of where you've seen success for one of your clients? Like a really good connection that you made and they've had such a good partnership ever since?
Yeah, there's one that comes to mind. We work pretty closely with the team over at Palm Tree Music Festival. It's a music festival brand that we've worked with now for some time. We're really close with their team. We love their product. We love their events. And they were looking for some strategic brand sponsors to come on to showcase them at their events, at several events across the globe and across the year. And so we made an introduction to Palm Tree that ended up resulting in a six-figure deal for them that was a multi-festival deal. And so the brand was thrilled because they're getting exposure to the target demographic that they want to get in front of. The festival's obviously, ecstatic because we brought in some additional revenue and a key strategic partner for them. And so all three parties in this situation are obviously gaining value. So that's one that I love because it's kind of tangible. We went to the event, we saw the brand activating on site, and we kind of got feedback from both sides after saying, hey, this was incredible. Like, thank you so much for making that connection. And that's the best part for us. And once the introduction's made, whether it's a successful introduction, a deal gets closed, what have you, is getting feedback from both partners who are so appreciative and grateful and thankful that we connected them, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to access that connection. That's what's kind of the best part for me.
That sounds huge. Palm Tree Festival, I feel like the majority of the people listening in will probably know what that is. So that's very, very fun. Jake, do you have an example you want to share with us too?
Mine is a little bit different than Michael's. So I think the beauty of what we do, and very grateful to be able to do what we do, is that it's not, like Michael said, transactional. We try to be as little transactional as possible. But one of our friends, a mutual friend of ours, was looking for a job basically, and we were able to basically place him in a role that he's been trying to get for a long, long time. And we've been able to just see it come to fruition. So first he started with, hey, the ask was, hey, I'm looking for a job. We were able to get him a job. And then once he was in that role, he said, hey, now our company is looking for this. Can you put us in touch with these people? And it's really been a flywheel of what we've been able to do for a really close mutual friend.
I feel like there's two sides. So one, you got the business side of it, very, very successful. And then on the personal side, I mean, that's amazing to put somebody right where they want to be, especially on the career front. That's not easy to do. So very exciting to hear that. I want to shift a little bit and talk about entrepreneurship, so you guys can start giving some advice to our audience, because the majority of them are either business owners or they're people that are in the communications field that are just looking to expand. Maybe they want to start their own business. Do you have any advice for people that are brand new? I know that you have been entrepreneurs since college, but for people that may be starting something new today.
Yeah, the first piece of advice that comes to mind is you have to be adaptable. And Jake mentioned it earlier. We've iterated on the business model once so far. It won't be the last time we do that. And so you have to be kind of quick on your feet and adaptable, both in business and your personal life, because things are going to change, and it's the ability to react to that change for the better that I think separates some entrepreneurs from the rest. It's impossible to try and, predict the future. And if that was the case, if I had a crystal ball, there'd be a different story here. But the fact that so many different, changes, elements can be thrown at you, if you are adaptable and are able to react to the changes that come and take advantage of those, I think that is kind of the differentiating factor. And piece of advice I'd give to most people is to expect that change, anticipate that change, and then understand and teach yourself how to react to that for the better.
That's huge. Being adaptable and change. I mean, that's number one, I think, in my book. Jake, what about you?
Two pieces of advice that have just come top of mind that have been super beneficial to both Michael and myself. First one is to have the everything is figure outable mindset. We often say that. That's like our company slogan, even though it's not our official company slogan, but going into every situation and opportunity with the everything is figure outable mindset, because at the end of the day, everything is figure outable in some capacity and in some way. So I think while you're starting a company, even if you're working somewhere as well, having that mentality will make everyone around you feel better. Even just saying it out loud, like people just like get excited where it's like, yes, everything is figure outable. We'll get it done when the time is right, and in the right way. And then the second one is more tangible, which is just to utilize LinkedIn. We're big LinkedIn advocates. We think that you should be posting as much as possible, as much as you can, because in today's economy, it's all about day trading attention. So if you can be top of mind for people, that's eventually how you will continue to expand your business. So not just posting, but also reaching out to people through LinkedIn direct messages too.
I mean, you make a good point. I mean, you could really network anywhere. So even if you're in, the smallest town in the middle of the United States, I mean, you can be connecting with people that are in New York or be connecting with people in Miami. You make a really good point there. Speaking of building your network, I mean, that's obviously what you guys are all about. What would you recommend to somebody that's brand new to networking? Of course, LinkedIn's a good shot, but what if they're in Los Angeles or in New York? What kind of advice would you give somebody?
I would say try all the things. Try all the things, meaning LinkedIn, going to events, talking to friends, family, colleagues. You never know which channel, which source, which medium or platform is going to be best for you given what you're trying to achieve. So for some people, that might be LinkedIn. For others, it could be in-person events. So my recommendation would be cast that wide net up front and try to network as much as you can across all these different platforms. And while doing so, provide value and give without expecting anything in exchange in return. Because I think that for us has proven to come back tenfold. And Jake's doing this on LinkedIn, and we're doing it obviously with our clients as well. But those would be the two pieces of advice I would say is try all the things across all social platforms, across all events, see what works for you, lean into that, and then cut what's not working for you. And then whenever you find what is working for you, make sure you can try and find a way. It could even be a small win to provide value to whoever you're networking with up front, and don't expect anything in exchange because they're going to feel obligated to then give back to you later on.
Love that. Jake, what about you? Anything?
Great answer, Michael. Two things. The first one is get on the plane if you can. And if you're new to networking and you see an event online or you want to meet someone that you've always wanted to meet, just book the plane ticket and go. It'll be worth your time. You'll never regret it. We've learned that firsthand, and you just got to go out and be there in front of people, not just on Zoom. The second one is basically the most scarce thing that people have is their time, right? So when you're reaching out to someone either at an event or online, don't ask for an hour of their time because it's tough to get an hour of anyone's time. Just ask for 5 to 10 minutes. That's all you really need to understand someone and just to open the door. So I think the element of time is super important as you continue to build your network, and understanding other people's time is as important as yours.
I love all of the above that you just said. I feel like I'm inspired to do more. You're right. Just jump on the plane or say yes and go meet new people. It's always having that yes mentality, I feel like, is such a stronghold there. I just wanted to pivot back to the Nucleus Network. Can you just share any exciting developments or anything new that's on the horizon that you'd want to share with our audience?
Yeah, Nucleus 2.0 is what Jake and I are most excited about. It's launching in Q4. We started Nucleus, like Jake said, about a year ago, and we've been pretty industry agnostic up until this point because of how far our connections go across all these different industries. But after making a few thousand introductions, we can kind of go back and look at the data to see where we're driving the needle and where we're making the most impact. And so Nucleus 2.0 is really threefold. We're launching Nucleus Ventures, Nucleus Advisory, and Nucleus Community, which is kind of like the three-pillared approach. And a lot of the clients we work with, connections we make, and people we know fall into at least one or two of those three buckets. Nucleus Ventures being the venture ecosystem, capital raising, startup founders, family offices, venture capital funds. Nucleus Advisory is really exciting because it's growing very quickly. That's our advisory business, which is kind of like a, consulting arm where we work with early stage tech founders or business owners or even individuals who are looking to expand their network. And then Nucleus Community, we could share more about in Q4 once it launches, but it's going to be a platform for the Nucleus Network to live on where they can chat with each other. They can join webinars. We're going to be doing Q&As and bringing in cool people to that platform for them to have different touch points to create value and connect with each other. And so that's what I'm most excited about in Q4 is Nucleus 2.0.
That's so exciting. A quick question about the venture side of it. What type of client would you be looking for? So you're saying startup founders, different VCs, but what type of company would be a good fit?
Yeah, great question. We're definitely generalists and industry agnostic. We typically focus on earlier stage, like seed to Series A. And it's just because that's where a lot of our network plays. And so connecting the dots, not only between investors and founders, but even investors to each other to help them co-invest on opportunities, or founders to each other. Like we have a lot of founders who come to us who, are successful founders that are building great businesses that have never been in these shoes before. And they come to us and they say, hey, can you introduce me to other founders who have been in my shoes, like people who have raised capital or people who are in this industry. And we've connected those dots a number of times. And again, there's, nothing for Nucleus to gain outside of us connecting great people to great people, which is what we're all about. So that ecosystem at large, the warm introduction goes a long way, because it's kind of like, if you know, and if you don't, you're out until you know. So, we're doubling down on the venture ecosystem because a lot of our partners have seen success by tapping into the Nucleus Network.
I love that. Jake, do you have anything to add about Nucleus 2.0? It's so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Michael's been spearheading that charge. So kudos to Michael. He's been doing a great job. I'm most excited about the Nucleus culture and our internal team. I think we've brought in amazing people just to help with our mission, and they're fully bought in too. So I'm excited to continue to see that grow in Q4, but also in 2025. Hopefully we'll be able to bring in more amazing people to spread the message and spread what we do. So that's what I'm most excited about. I'm going to flip it back to you. What are you most excited about for Q4 in 2025?
To be honest with you, we're doing this thing right now called Operation LFG. And so we're trying to do as much as possible in the best type of way. So being kind, doing the most work and always saying yes. So similar to the advice that you're giving, which is so helpful. especially for our team. So Operation LFG is underway. We're growing. We're hiring about 2 to 3 new people within the next month, and we're just adding new companies on because we're doing such a good job. So everything's going good over here. I'm excited for Q4. Thanks for asking.
I love the name, Operation LFG.
Operation LFG. I know it's like our internal Slack channels and everything.
Whoever came up with that name deserves a nice bonus. They did a great job.
I feel like it's just been everything that we've been saying recently. So thank you for saying that. So, okay, before we wrap up, is there any final advice or insights you want to share with our listeners, particularly those that are interested in the Nucleus Network or even networking in general?
Many thoughts come to mind. I think the first thing is to just, like you said, reach out to the best that you've seen or want to connect with, because I know this is very cheesy, but you only live once. So you got to reach out to the people that you've always wanted to connect to and find a way to get in front of them and to pitch what you're doing, but also just pitch who you are. So that's the first thing. I think secondly is to use LinkedIn as much as possible. Really highly vetted people are on LinkedIn, and it's a great place to be. I think for Nucleus, we'd love to chat with anybody. So please reach out to us. It's just at the Nucleus Network. My email is jake@thenucleusnetwork.com. Michael's michael@thenucleusnetwork.com. And we'd love to learn more about you and your business and what you're looking to do.
I love it. And Michael, any closing remarks?
Yeah, I think one thing that's really helped us a lot recently is thinking outside the box. There's no one way or cookie cutter approach to achieving a goal or overcoming, an obstacle. And we've gotten really, really creative with the ways we could do that. And so I implore the audience or anyone listening here, try and think outside the box and get creative with what you're doing, how you're communicating, what you're trying to achieve. I think the more creative you get, the more ideas that will spur, and you never know where that will take you next.
I absolutely love it. Well, Jake, Michael, thank you both for sharing your journey and insights with us today. Honestly, it's been great.
Thanks a lot for having us, Jessica.
Thank you for having us.
Amazing. And it's so inspiring also to hear what you both are doing. And so for our listeners who want to learn more about the Nucleus Network or connect with Michael and Jake, check out the show notes down below. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Communicating Capital. Thanks, y'all.